We don't talk about it enough, and it's a problem. It's been a problem for a really long time. It's been a problem because the consequences that come with talking about it can be humiliating, shameful, and even life-threatening. Let's talk about sex, baby. But I'm not talking about that love-making kind of sex. I'm talking about the cycles that occur as a result of unwanted sexual attention or assault. I'm going to share some personal stories with you to give you some insight into some experiences I've had with sex since I was a kid. While I share these stories, I invite you to think about the normalized rape culture that's been cultivating in our world. I also want you to think about how sex is supposed to be a fun and experimental part of our lives, and yet can cause a lot of lasting damage when not handled with care. I'm going to talk about it because we don't talk about it enough. And it's time for that to change. Sex needs to be normalized into a positive topic so that it doesn't continue to cause hurt. Most of us have sex because it feels good, not just to procreate. Our colonialist society has made sex to be a shameful act and advocates for an abstinence until marriage, heterosexual, monogamous lifestyle, and yet relentlessly pushes a sex sells narrative. It's confusing. My body developed early. I had C-cup breasts by the time I was 10. I was taller, curvier, and more mature looking than all of my friends, and as a result, started gaining unwanted attention from men at an early age. I was in Mexico with my dad when a group of men started hitting on me in the resort's pool. Someone eventually came up to intervene, and they asked them how old they thought I was. They'd guessed around 25. I was 14. In high school, I was known as the girl with the boobs. The boys grabbed and poked my breast whenever they felt like it. And no one ever said anything. They didn't want to talk about it. Neither did I. I think that this dusting it under the rug mentality came from something that was happening in my family. An older family member started to take a liking to me. He'd make any excuse to get closer to touch me. I still hear him in my head saying, "You feel so good." It was especially hard because he was the greatest and most incredible man to so many people that knew him. And I'm not trying to play the blame game, but pretty much all of my family members knew this was a problem. They'd say, "He's old and he doesn't know what he's doing. You just need to try to stay away from him." I found myself hiding in my own house from a man that was supposed to be a safe adult. This wasn't the last time I heard, "You just need to try to stay away from him." The creepy guy always seems to be a person of influence, someone you can't say no to. I had a job a few years ago where this happened on more than one occasion, but I was told that I couldn't stand up for myself because these men spent a lot of money and they couldn't afford to lose them as customers. It seemed like my safety and well-being didn't matter as much as the money the creepy guy was spending. #MeToo. The creepy guy gains power as more women are told to just dust it under the rug. We've become accustomed to a world of repression, where it has become normal to not use your voice and to dust things under the rug if your words may cause damage to individuals' reputations. We let negative shit happen to us and to those around us, and we are told to stay silent about it. I don't want to be silent anymore. I'm going to speak my truth. The truth is, I've been a victim to the imbalance in power that our society fosters between the genders. Women are continuously encouraged to change their behavior by limiting their actions and owning the responsibility for sexual violence. So, the creepy guy gets to continue to be creepy, while women are told to not go out past dark, never wear a shirt that's too low cut or a skirt that's too short, don't ever think about leaving your drink unattended, and basically be on alert at all times. I was away with some friends when they decided we were going to share a cab with some guys that we just met at a bar. I was uncomfortable, but I got in. The man that I was sitting next to started pressing my skull into the cab window so that he could try to rip open my shirt and grab my breasts while he bit me. He was assaulting me right next to my friend who was too drunk to understand what was going on. When we finally arrived at the guy's hotel, I refused to get out of the cab because that man would have raped me that night. And that's just a slice of it. And I'm purposely telling you the stories that aren't that bad and not quite rape. Because it's those little instances that happen over and over again that have caused the most damage to me. But society has taught me to believe that I shouldn't stand up for myself and use my voice and talk about it. It's the drive-by catcalling, the turned heads and whistles as I've walked by construction sites, the damn girls and hey babes. It's every single little comment that amounts to so much more pain and discomfort than I can express. It's a feeling like you're nothing more than an object for men to use however they please. Last year, I was drugged. I was out at a private party with a safe group of friends. I didn't have too much to drink, and I didn't leave my drink unattended. But I don't remember getting home. Thankfully, I was with my roommate, and she got me home safely, but I got so sick that she had to call an ambulance. Was it my fault? Was I asking for it? Have you ever felt like that? Do you want to talk about it? Because I didn't talk about it, relationships were hard for me. I was closed off and rigid. I still am closed off and rigid. But I'm here talking about it so that I can get better. I no longer want to sit in relationship limbo with men, going on dates, having sex, but never allowing myself to be emotionally vulnerable. I no longer want to let myself become what society portrays me to be, a sex symbol, a slut. We have to stop with the slut shaming. I'm sick of it. So I've started talking about sex. Funny stories, frustrating stories, upsetting stories, excellent stories. And guess what? Almost everybody engages and wants to talk about it. I've actually made more friends talking about sex than at any other time in my life. I want to lift the weight of repression off of the topic and welcome it. Our society lacks adequate, transparent sexual education. We do not take enough responsibility for educating our children, who often don't understand the complexity of sex until much later in life. Comprehensive sex education is recognized by the UN as a human right of all young people. Why is that? Because the more we educate, the more our population will become informed, make safer choices, and result in less unplanned pregnancies and STIs. The first time I had sex, I got the worst bladder infection ever, and I had literally no idea what it was or what was happening to my body. We need to start at the very basics of sexual health. Healthy individuals make up healthy communities. Healthy communities reap positive benefits. And we need healthy communities more than ever. We have to start getting real. We need to start speaking the truth, the raw, uncomfortable truth. Because without truth, we will continue to enable hurt. We will continue to be silent on a topic that fuels the fire of colonialism, repression, and shame. If this resonates with you, I hope you talk to someone. Talk to me. Let's talk about it so that we no longer feel shame about speaking up against abusers, so that we no longer continue dusting it under the rug, and that we feel empowered about speaking on a topic that's absolutely natural to being human. We don't talk about it enough, but let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex. Thank you.